Tales from the Podcast is brought to you by the following generous sponsorships. House of Mysterious Secrets. Visit houseofmysterioussecrets.com and use the discount code 4130 to save 10%. TalesFromThePodcast.com, where you can pick up your copy of Tales of Shock and Terror #1. The Skewered Universe Podcast. And viewers like you.
Hey there, and welcome to an episode of Tales from the Podcast. How's it going, Jeff?
Going all right, man. How you doing?
I'm alive, dude. I have not died yet. I'm sorry to those who have been betting on it. Maybe next time.
Yeah, you're not getting that money out of the Deadpool this time.
No. But I mean, no, not my loss. So, anyways, man, what's going on new with you this week?
Not a whole lot, man. I mean, just getting ready for this episode. We released earlier this week a new episode of Skewered Universe. We're getting ready to close out the Nightmare on Elm Street retrospective. So we just released New Nightmare earlier this week. Taking a look back at that one, and we got Freddy versus Jason lined up. So
nice.
That's
I
going to be
really
it.
like New Nightmare. I'll be honest with you.
Same here. Leanne, it's a little slow for her. She's not too much of a fan. It's not her Freddy, not her slasher, which I get. It is a different take.
It is the right Freddy. It is 100% the right Freddy. We've seen the wrong Freddy.
Oh no, what she means is it's not the Freddy from the earlier franchise.
Whoa.
She likes the earlier parts. This one isn't for her, but that's fine.
Oh yeah, all right. I can understand the acting being a little bit different, but I mean,
yeah,
it is the right Freddy. Like,
it is the right Freddy.
Right.
That version is not. Yeah. She prefers the earlier versions instead of this more meta take on.
At least she doesn't prefer the remake version.
Yeah, that could be grounds for divorce. I don't know.
I would not blame you, sir. I would also agree that would be grounds for divorce. That, or if you asked her what movie the tall man was in and she didn't have a proper answer, that would also be grounds for divorce.
She might know that, but also I don't know how big she is into Phantasm and the weird shit. So
I would still say it's grounds for divorce.
I'm willing to give her a pass on the Phantasm thing, because
if I were you, I just wouldn't ask it. If you don't ask it, you don't have to divorce her.
Oh, I've shown her the movie and she was like, "That's weird," but I liked it. She liked it.
The first one.
The first one.
Not the second one.
Yeah. I haven't shown her any more after that.
Yeah,
I made sure she saw the first one.
All of them in a row. Be like, babe, we're doing a whole day of Phantasm. You're gonna love.
We're watching nothing but Phantasm. It's just balls and tall man.
Hey, by the way, love the shirt, man. Me and the wife are gonna get ready to binge watch The Mandalorian at some point.
Yeah, I haven't. This is Boba Fett here, but it's because he showed up in The Mandalorian again.
Nice. I mean,
I haven't watched any of the new season yet, so I've been staying away from.
Me too. I'm getting ready to
sort
watch.
of.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love it. I'm not a hardcore Star Wars fan. Like I
No.
didn't grow up with it like a lot of people, but I appreciate so much of it, and this just hits the right notes for me. Everything about it has been really good.
I mean, some might say I'm a fan. You know,
You know, a little bit.
yeah. No, I mean, I can't show off the rest of them without taking clothes off, like the Death Star being blown up that covers up half my fucking
That's
leg.
on the OnlyFans
Yes,
page.
yes. And then the Mandalorian skull that starts at the top of my neck. Yeah, a little bit fan. I don't know. I guess
Just a full back tattoo. There's the Mandalore skull, and then Din Djarin on one side, Boba Fett on the other, Grogu down at the bottom.
I still think of anytime I think of like a full back tattoo, I always think of like I think we talked about this before, fanboys.
Yep.
Which has to be something we talk about in the future. I mean,
Oh yeah,
God
we
damn
definitely got
it.
to talk about that one.
That is a fucking fun one for sure,
It's
man.
so much fun. That all the tattoos he's talking about that full. His Jar Jar Binks
He's
tattoo.
gonna be so big. God
Hmm.
damn it. I love that so much. They did such a good job with that movie.
Yeah. Hey
Oh.
guys, what if this sucks?
Right?
Nah.
You gotta love that shit.
Oh yeah.
You know? But anyways, we're gonna be talking about an episode of Tales from the Crypt today, man.
Yeah,
And the
we
second to
are.
last episode from season 7. I mean, we're pretty much rounding this up, man. Um This episode is episode 12 from season 7, originally aired July 12th of 1996, and is based off of a comic book story from Haunt of Fear, issue number 11. Um, I really actually like the Haunt of Fear line, personally. But the Tales from the Crypt ones were the best. Vault of Horror was really good too. I I'm not the biggest fan of some of the crime suspense stories ones that were in there, just because a lot of those are your love triangle, true crime type story.
Right.
I like that supernatural kind of aspect to some of the other ones, which kind of makes it a little bit more fun.
Yeah, I'm the same way. From what I've read so far, I've appreciated more the supernatural stuff that we've got.
Oh yeah,
Once we've got that. The one from last week where it's just this gritty, police brutality. It's like,
yeah.
this one I had a little more fun with. This is Bats in My Belfry, I believe, correct?
Say that again.
Was it That was Bats in My Belfry is the story, the comic, correct?
I can't hear you. I did not even.
Bats in My Belfry
It
is the comic.
is it.
I think that's what I have here. That's what I read. I'm hoping that's correct. That's what I looked up, and that's what I found. As I looked up to see what the episode was based on, and that was the name. So,
I mean, I unfortunately this week I passed over comic book duty to you, so I did not even check it out.
yeah,
So
I read it, and I know there's similarities between the episodes, so I'm pretty sure I got it right.
right. Well, I mean, worst case scenario, I know I have it up here. So I mean, I can always just pull out the real thing. But I probably won't, because then I'd have to take it out of the plastic. And
I'm sure we got it because I looked up on like fan Wikipedia sites as to what this episode was based on, the original source material, and found it. So
yeah, there are a few that are unfortunately like that. I mean, even the next episode technically isn't based off of a comic book at all. So
yeah,
I mean, yeah,
the three little porkers.
Yeah, it's the third pig. Ugh. God damn the fucking third pig.
So it's based off Three Little Pigs by Green Jello, right?
Yes. Oh, god damn it. So anyways, I'm going to jump into this. This was directed by Christopher Hart. Christopher Hart of the Solar Film and Eat and Run fame. You know why you've never heard of those? Because they probably weren't good. And this is all the things that this guy's ever done was Eat and Run, the Solar Film, and this episode of Tales from the Crypt. He has done nothing else. He did nothing else beforehand, nothing else afterwards. And that's basically all that's in his bio is those 3 things. He has nothing on there.
Yeah, there's nothing.
No, not a thing.
I mean, in 10 years between the last thing he did and Tales from the Crypt, so
Yeah. I mean, I don't know what he was doing.
I'm gonna say he was like the last choice. They're like, well, we got this guy on speed dial if we need him.
I mean, maybe there's only 12 people who can direct stuff in the UK, and he was number 12, and nobody else just knew how to do it. But I don't know.
That
I've
could
never
be.
been there. I mean, I'm just gonna say, yeah, we're gonna go for that. That's exactly what it is. Um, the screenplay was written by Ed Tapia or Tapia. I don't know. Um, he actually produced quite a bit of Tales from the Crypt. He did the entire 7th season. He's actually known for producing more than anything. He did produce the TV show Stand Against Evil. Um,
Okay.
I mean, that's kind of where I've noticed him. House on Haunted Hill, the 1999 version. He also was the associate producer for Perversions of Science, which was one of the Tales spin-off type things that they were going to
hmm
do. Um, as far as writing goes, this is basically it. He's definitely more known for being a producer, which is fairly common in some of these episodes for a comic
Right.
book adaptation to be, a fast screenplay by a producer. And I mean, they're going to call the fucking shots anyway, so you might as well let them because I
Yeah.
mean, this cuts out a lot of the bullshit too. Um,
Exactly.
as far as this episode goes, though, we got Glenn Fennell playing Robert Lindsay. Oh my god, I fucked that up. Robert Lindsay playing Glenn Fennell. um, I mean, he's done quite a bit. I mean, not gonna say quite a bit of good. A lot of TV shows.
Yeah. Looks like a
Um,
lot of UK TV shows.
yeah. Like a lot of things. I mean, I've never heard of a lot of the shit.
Yeah.
I'm sure some of it's good and some of it's bad, but I don't know. I did notice one thing kind of weird that there's a thing in here. Obviously it's a UK show called Unsolved History, and I wonder if that's just their version of Unsolved Mysteries.
Huh.
But I don't know. It's just something weird that I saw.
I wonder.
I don't know. But I didn't see a lot of like big, productions at all with
Yeah.
anything they did. I mean, like literally just nothing that I really know of at all. Like he did I guessed in a sense. I mean, there was like an Oliver Twist miniseries that I didn't know that one existed, but I know what Oliver Twist is.
Right.
But I
I
mean,
mean, most
I just
people.
I don't know a lot of the shit that he's in. That's simple. I mean,
Yeah. A lot of like TV miniseries, a lot of TV shows, a lot of
made
it
for
looks like a
TV
lot of
movies.
yeah, like a lot of one-off stuff. So apparently,
Yeah.
Unsolved History is a series about historical mysteries that are scientifically investigated.
Huh.
So not very much like Unsolved Mysteries, which is we're gonna scare the crap out of you with Bigfoot and alien stories and murderers still on the loose and missing people.
Right. I always liked watching
Which
those growing up because I'm sitting there always thinking like, oh god, these guys never got caught. Little
Mhm.
did I know at that point in time I was watching reruns that were like 8 years old, and a lot of those people were already caught.
And see, you caught the reruns. I was watching them when they were first airing.
Mhm.
So I see those creepy, like, here's what they will look like now with our, aging technology. And
Right.
whew,
So you
nightmare
actually
fuel.
got to be scared of the killers being there. I got
Yeah.
to be scared of thinking they were there when they weren't.
hmm Yeah, there's two
Fucking A.
levels of fear, two different levels of fear there.
Right. We also got, oh my god, Gretchen Palmer playing Kate Lawson in this.
Mhm.
Um, I mean, she's been in more stuff that I know. I will say she is in one of my favorite movies from the 90s, Wishmaster.
Yep, I saw that and I went, that's where I know her from. Because immediately I'm like, I know her face.
Oh yeah,
And I looked it up and I'm like, Wishmaster. Yep, that makes sense.
but she was also in Black Scorpion.
I got the hookup.
Do you know who she played on Black Scorpion?
African Violet. I have the list up here right now. I have the list up.
I just
So
needed to make sure that I threw that out there. Do you know why they called her African Violet?
I have no idea because I don't even know what Black Scorpion is other than a TV series.
I mean, all right, so Black Scorpion is, I mean, yeah, they ended up making it into a TV series, but it started off kind of with some like kind of like cheap kind of movie type things. They were like sexy superhero type girl type things.
Okay.
And some of the movies that were kind of associated with it were, I mean, could be on the verge of like, I wouldn't go as far as saying softcore, but I mean, you know how it is.
Yeah, well, I'm seeing Roger Corman's name attached, so now I'm not surprised. I'm like, okay. I know exactly what we're getting into with this.
Yeah, yeah. And I mean, not, I mean, there were movies attached. I mean, a bunch of stuff, and like it was weird because the TV show was like PG, but then the movies were all rated R.
Yeah, it's funny. And I was looking at like from the series that the outfit. I'm like,
Yeah,
there's not a whole lot left to the
yeah,
imagination in that outfit.
right. No, I
It's
know.
not very superhero esque, but then
My
you know,
if my dad's listening at a later time, I will say that he's the reason I know what Black Scorpion is. And I'll tell you right now, African Violet got called African Violet because she was a black lady wearing purple. They were not very creative.
they they didn't even try. They're like, well, what do
No,
we call her?
exactly.
It seems like it's in the same vein of I don't know if you remember there was a series about a superhero named Nightman.
Yes, yes, but
Okay.
not the same Nightman from Always Sunny.
No, not the same. This guy. No, I haven't seen any episodes of Always Sunny, but I know of this, and it is not the same Nightman.
No.
No. Apparently, the Nightman that I stumbled across 5 minutes of an episode was like a saxophone player, like a jazz musician who was a
Oh,
fine crider by night. I'm like,
and
what
it's
the
old too. It's real
yes,
old.
yeah.
Oh God,
It's
yeah,
around the time of like Hercules the series and Xena. It was around that. They're like, we need a
yeah.
superhero version.
Some of the best TV shows
Why?
Sam Raimi ever made.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, he killed it. And I remember the show Nightman.
I'm
That was
glad somebody else remembers
great.
so I didn't sound like a crazy person.
No, I mean, it was weird because I ran across it and learned about it because of this Always Sunny. So
Okay.
yeah, yeah. But
Yeah.
I really I'm a Charlie Day fan. I can't. It is what it is.
Yeah. If from seeing clips of Sonny, and I've appreciated what he's done. I mean, I need to see the series, but anytime Charlie Day's showing up in something, I'm like, all right, this is going to be probably better than it should be.
He's in every episode, so I mean,
Yeah. I mean, but I mean, like seeing him like show up in movies like Pacific Rim, I'm like, oh, he's a part of this like huge cast with Ron Perlman. Yeah, I'm definitely gonna this is definitely gonna have some
oh yeah,
humor.
he's one of those people where it's like until you give him that shot, you really don't care. But he's surprisingly way funnier than he probably has the right to be.
I'm gonna say he's one of those rare talents that's like always consistent. It's kind of like Paul Rudd. Like even if Paul Rudd is something where you're like, it wasn't that great, he's always consistent. Like there's always
I
a
agree.
performance where you're like, that was solid. You're like the
Yeah.
other stuff around it may not be good, but there's always that one consistent person.
He's
where
made a
you're like,
lot of movies a lot better than they had any chance to be.
yeah.
But
And Charlie Day is now Luigi, so that's canon.
I haven't seen the Mario thing.
I haven't seen it either yet.
I don't know if I want to.
I'll check it out when it hits streaming. I'm not going to any theaters anytime soon, just for personal shit. But you know,
Yeah.
as much as I want to, as much as I want to. I miss the theater so much.
No, I get it. I mean, I don't know. One of my things is just like, I don't know, this new Mario stuff. I just Bob Hoskins is always going to be Mario for me.
See, Captain Lou Albano was my Mario in
Right.
live action because the Super Mario Super Show.
That show sucked dick. I remember
Oh,
it.
oh, it's terrible, but I
It's
mean that's what I had
it's
before
so
Bob
bad.
Hoskins and
Oh god, yeah. I like that one because that's when I found out Mario's last name.
Mario.
Mario.
I still remember promos from the movie when it came out for toys,
Oh
and the
god.
kid just kept going. You can play with Mario, and Luigi Mario. And I'm like, wait a minute, that's the stupidest names I've ever heard. Why are they named Mario as their last name?
Yeah, because who knows? But you gotta love it. You do.
Because video games.
Hey, I mean, it could have been worse.
Yeah, that's definitely true.
You know, I mean, I still think it's fun. But then again, I
Yeah,
grew up
now
on it and I
growing
have a
up, I'm
weird
like,
thing
that's
with it.
actually pretty funny. He's just Mario, and Luigi Mario. I'm like, that's fine.
Oh yeah,
As a kid, I was like, what does this even mean?
nothing.
Nothing at all.
So, anyways, to continue with Gretchen, she was also on Freddy's Nightmares. She was also in Chopper Chicks in Zombie Town.
I still gotta check that one out. It is on my list to check out.
Oh yeah, god damn you.
She
I
was on
mean,
Married with Children, which makes
Family
sense.
Matters, one of the greatest shows ever.
Did
The
I do
Wayans brothers.
that?
She was
The
on
Wayans brothers.
Walker. I mean, she's done a good amount of shit
I
for
mean,
this being one of the
also,
later series. Like,
let's not
yeah,
forget two of the greatest shows ever: Homeboys in Outer Space and Malcolm and Eddie.
I've never seen Oh Boys in Outer Space.
I've seen one episode of each of those shows, and I'm like, this was UPN at its height.
Oh God, I forgot UPN
Yeah,
was a thing. The 1983 film had a cover of the classic 80s song "Walk the Dinosaur."
that it did. That it
I
did.
love that one though. Um, we also have Richard Johnson in this playing
Yes.
Malcolm Lawson. He is probably best known for, I mean, god damn, like quite a bit.
So
The
so
Haunting,
much.
Zombie, um,
Beyond the
damn,
Door. I mean,
right? I mean, he's god
I
damn.
think most people who are watching this might probably know him most as Dr. Menard in Zombie.
That or they recognized him from Laura Croft Tomb Raider.
Also true.
I
That's
hope not.
very
If that's where
highly likely.
if you ever watched any of these episodes and you started noticing people from Laura Croft Tomb Raider, just stop watching this show.
Oh
Just
man.
no. But no, he's been in quite a bit of shit. A lot of TV series, a lot of TV movies, a lot of real movies too. But no, Zombie is
Yeah.
definitely probably one of the bigger ones for sure. I know that he's done, like I said, tons and tons of fucking TV shows though. He was in that 70s series Thriller back in the day too. Um, I think didn't he get a start like early too. I think he got 1950 he got a start. So I mean, you're talking, this guy at this point's already been fucking acting for over 40 years by the time he just plays this role. But I mean, I don't know. We'll get into it, but yeah, he was awesome. And yeah, I brought that up already too. Yeah, he was in The Haunting.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
Sorry, I had a slight hiccup there.
no, you're good. You're good. We also have Phil Davis in this playing Henry. Phil Davis, I mean, I don't know. He's been in a ton of stuff, but like Alien 3. And then because of a buddy of mine,
Yeah.
which I don't know if he wants me to say anything about him on here. He knows who the fuck he is. Got me into this little fucking show called Inside Number 9.
Okay.
And yeah. Great show. I fucking UK shows, though. I mean, I really do enjoy that show. But no, he is in there. I mean, tons of TV shit. I mean, I'm not gonna say he's done a ton of like really big roles, but
Right.
you know, a lot of TV shows, a lot of small roles. I wouldn't say nothing huge that stuck out, but a lot of roles. I mean, he's stayed pretty consistent when it comes to working.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like he worked all the way up until. Oh wait, no, sorry, that's a different guy. He's
Yeah.
still working. It looks like as of last year. Sorry, I was thinking of Richard Johnson for a
Oh.
second.
Yeah, you were right. He's 2 TV series, 3 TV series that he was 2 TV series and something called Deuce.
Yeah,
But
no
ton of shit though. I mean, it's awesome.
Yeah.
And then last but not least in this, we got David Gant playing Doctor. He's one of those people where I'm just gonna throw it out there. You see his face, you know you've seen him in something.
Mhm.
And chances are it's probably Braveheart.
Yeah, once I saw that on his list, I'm like, oh, okay, now, because I'm like, you look familiar, and you're obviously very creepy looking at the same time.
Right. I mean, that's where I'm going to say probably most people know him. I do know that he was at the excuse me, the new Witcher spin-off series thing that they kind of did like a little mini thing on, which was pretty cool. I mean, maybe not pretty cool. It was different, but it was. I don't know. I'm a fan of the Witcher's world. I wish they would stick a little bit more true to the source material, but I mean, let's be honest. That's just how it all is.
Yeah, I get you.
He was in Dracula too. The
Okay.
Messenger, the story of Joan of Arc. I never saw that movie.
I have not seen that one either. I know the name, but I haven't seen the movie.
I've seen The Messenger, but I've not seen that. That's a different movie. I mean, he's a ton of shit that nobody's ever heard of. Victor Victoria? What the fuck is that? Sapphire and Steel? Right? I mean, some of the shit, I don't know what the fuck it even is. But he's in it.
Victor Victoria is, I don't know how to describe it. I've never seen it, but I know of it.
I do not. I do not. But, I mean, consistently working for years as well, so but he's just one of those people where, I mean, you've seen him on some TV shows. He is not stuck strictly to the UK. I mean, even some bigger stuff like The Last Kingdom. He's even done voices on big video games like Final Fantasy. So he's I think let me see. Yeah, he even did stuff for Dark Souls. So I mean, the guy's been around. Yeah. He's done a lot of shit. So kudos to him. Now to go ahead and jump into this episode itself, pretty cut and dry episode, honestly.
It really is.
I did not see that, but yeah. Anyways, with this episode, here today, gone tomorrow. I guess I'll throw out the plot synopsis real quick. A greedy safecracker with a slight hearing loss gets entangled in a game between a mobster and his beautiful exotic wife and ends up getting the auditory system he could only dream of. But there's a price. Yes and no, I guess, in a way, but we end up having a safecracker who clearly cannot crack safes anymore. And Jeff disappeared. There he is.
Sorry.
No, you're fine. You're fine.
Sorry.
You're
just
fine.
Checking something.
No, you're good. You're good. I just didn't know where you went.
My bad.
No, you're fine. Now on top of not being able to crack any safes anymore, we soon find out that he's basically lost his hearing. He's a gambling man. He's very much so down on his luck, and he owes this very wealthy guy quite a bit of money at this point. And yeah, to the point where they're tied him up to a pool table and they're beating him with a pool stick, as you do to anybody who owes you money. That is standard rule. So, I mean, I say anything over $15 is worth strapping somebody to a table and hitting them with this, the pull stick.
At the very least.
I mean, probably go as low as $10 on that one, just out of principle. Because I mean, if you don't do it, you're basically a bitch, and you're letting people walk over you. So, if you
Yep.
don't want to be a bitch, you beat people with pull sticks if they owe you money.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, secretly, his wife ends up making a bet with, her husband about our betting man here. And we don't really get to hear anything about it until the end. And with this, he is cut free and let go. And from there, there is a 5-day interval, which we don't get to know anything that's happened at all.
No, we get nothing.
No. And then he's sitting there drinking at a bar, and she comes in and kind of shows him her eyes. And you can see she has cat eyes at this point. Which, I mean, I don't know. To me, like, I remember this episode. I've seen it so many times, but every time I see that scene, it's like, this is a dead giveaway of how this episode's going to go. But for those who don't know, it does go that way. But she ends up trying to get him to work with her to come up with a way to break into a safe and become rich and do things on their own. And to help entice the situation, she fucks him because that's what you do.
Yeah.
I mean, as a man who's married, my wife knows how to get what she wants when she wants it. And I'm sure Jeff can attest to that as well.
Yeah. And we all know that if women have cat eyes, that just makes them inherently sexual.
Well, I mean,
always wanting to fuck.
Well, that's how every cat is. I mean, I don't know about you, but every time I walk into a room with cats, I mean, they're always trying to fuck me.
Yeah, I mean, no matter what I do, no matter where I go, there's just feral pussy all over me.
Doing those howling heat sounds outside your window. God damn it!
It's just a part of my life at this point.
I mean, I could say that I understand. I mean, if I was a cat, I'd be making some sounds outside your window.
I mean,
I'm gonna go ahead and continue this before it gets really fucking weird. So
yeah, let's go.
After this ends up happening, she pays for him to go to a doctor and go through a surgery. He ends up fainting, waking up, and now he can hear good. So good, in fact, that he's able to hear how bad her breathing's gotten and her heart racing. And, it's basically like a superpower at this point. And, she takes him over to the safe, which they end up finding a different safe than the first time. And this is a bigger safe. And, she's basically like, this is for keeps. Like, we're not going for the pocket change. And he throws the stethoscope down and is able to sit there and crack the safe easily, no problem, very fast. Opens it up, takes a step back. She walks over, and this is where it kind of takes a bit of a turn. And he pulls out a gun and ends up shooting her right in the gut.
Yeah.
And then she coughs up a hairball, as one does. I mean, every time I get hit in the gut real good, I mean, a good hairball is usually what comes out next.
Yeah, I mean, the few fights I've been in my life, anytime someone's hit me in the gut, it's just fur balls.
Fur balls. Yeah, that's right. They're not even called hairballs. It calls it a fur ball. What a douche. Maybe that's what they're called there.
Maybe. Or somebody just didn't care.
probably that one. I mean, these episodes, I mean, I could see them just not caring. So, I mean, to me, it doesn't.
Yeah.
I would completely believe that personally. But what can you do?
Same.
So then he goes and ends up trying to leave. He ends up dropping part of the suitcase. Money spills out. Hears footsteps, turns around, and there she is. And come to find out, one of her side effects with the cat eyes is 9 lives. And it surprises him, you know. Then her husband's there, and they basically end up figuring out that, you know, his side effect at that point, which then he has a beak start to grow out and poke through his skin, and then his head turns all the way around, which is interesting. But then we cut over to them at the doctor's again, and this is where we start to learn that basically there is a middleman to some of these procedures. And Bush 1G, hey, what's up, G? How's it going? But anyways, we end up figuring out that there is a middleman process to these now. So when Henry's going and paying attention to her earlier in the episode and kind of like puts his glasses down, that's when, you know, she sees the eyes, and, you know, she had to get the eyes from him. So there has to be like a little bit of a separation between just going from animal to person to at least have a better idea of it. If you watch the syndication version, they cut the scene where the guy's face falls out. Yeah. Well, unfortunately, I guess I'll share this because I don't know if Jeff knows this fact, but there were 2 versions of every episode made.
Really?
Real versions, and then the kind of like safe for TV versions where they edit it down a little bit, and you know,
that makes sense because I remember it being like late night TV, not on HBO at one point. So
yeah, well, that's why. But yeah, he is right. They've done that. I mean, there's nothing surprises me anymore with some of the shit, but
yeah,
you know, but you know, going back into this. So we end up realizing that the safecracker is actually the middleman for her husband's ears. And we basically cut from there, which is interesting. It's a decent concept, I guess. But before we get into our thoughts, Jeff, what was different in the comic book?
Let's say this. First of all, quite a bit.
All of it. It wasn't even the same thing.
All of it. Yeah.
This is when you realize that he read the wrong story. No, I'm joking.
So we start off with a guy who sees a woman in the road. Oh wait, that was last week. No. We have an actor who is starting to lose his hearing. He's going to the doctors. They're telling him basically, "You're going to go deaf. There's nothing we can do for you. You know, fucking deal with it." He's tried many doctors. They're all telling him the same thing. There's no operation. You're just going to be deaf. His wife's refusing to believe, like, go see a specialist. You need to figure this shit out. We need to make money. You know, you're an actor. You need to have income.
Right.
So he eventually goes and sees an old friend of his who was blind. The friend goes, "Oh, I thought that was you. I recognized you." He goes, "Wait, say that again. I didn't hear you." He goes, "I recognized you." He goes, "Oh, you can see me." They go inside. His friend reveals that he has cat eyes, so he's able to see now. So there's our tie-in to the episode. Starting right there. It's like, well, how did this happen? He goes, "There's a place you can go. There's a specialist who can help you." So our actor friend goes off and basically ends up at what is like this ramshackle little back alley taxidermist office, where this specialist is telling him, like, "Okay, your auditory nerves are paralyzed, but I can fix it with a transplant, but it'll be from a bat. And you're going to hear like never before. Bats are great at hearing. Guaranteed it's going to fix it." He gets the procedure. and he can hear everything so much that his head is in pain. This doctor, as we'll say, doctor, he's not a real doctor, but tells him, you'll get used to it. Just go on about your days. You'll get used to it after a few days. So he's coming home, finds out from his good hearing now that his wife has been cheating on him. So he's off wandering. He comes back home, goes to take a shower. His face is starting to grow hair. So he shaves his face real quick. Like, that's weird. I'm just going to shave it. I don't know what's going on. Takes a shower, and he's got membranes where the skin is connected under his arms now. Sort of like, I don't know, bat wings? So we can see the progression of him becoming an animal. He's freaking out. He goes to see his friend, and his friend goes, "You need to get out of here. Things are happening. Don't go to that specialist." He goes, "Well, I already have. What's happened?" And his friend comes into the light and goes, "They weren't cat eyes. They were panther eyes. I'm turning into a panther. You need to go. I'm killing and eating anything that I can get my paws on." So that actor takes off. Since he's had this transplant, he's been like sleeping upside down in a closet at home. So he goes back there, he's sleeping, overhears his wife with another man talking about killing him and taking his life insurance money. So he's like, I got to get out of the house, gets out, sees this guy and takes off. Guy that was going to kill him and take off with his wife is chasing him, saying, "When I find you, I'm going to kill you." Well, our main character just at some point turns around and goes, "Nope, I've had enough." And he's full bat at this point. Or Batman, maybe? Possibly. Man Bat. I have more on that in a second. And basically kills this guy. And realizes, oh, this wasn't just any bat's hearing I was giving. Was given a vampire bat's hearing. So he goes back home, goes back, kills his wife. Basically, that's it.
Wow. Yeah, I can all right. Well, I can see where they call it that then for this episode.
Yeah, so the little tying thread is cat eyes and audio transplant from an animal to someone else. That's pretty much
Well, I
animal
mean,
parts to humans is
it is better than right because that's what the
yeah.
story is technically based off of is that issue.
Mhm. Yeah.
But the title issue is from the Haunt of Fear, which there is one titled "Here Today, Gone Tomorrow," and
Okay.
it's definitely more about a grave robber situation of trying to pay off some debts by digging up bones and getting into a cornfield and basically it's kind of hard to figure out like it looks like the ears of corn kind of killed them and the corn killed them. It's an odd one, and I can
Well,
see why they kind of went that direction with it, especially
yeah,
um
I can
the
see that. I mean,
but
but we all know if it's a cornfield, it's he who walks behind the rows who's killing people.
you would assume, but not in this. So anyways, man, with this episode and the comic book and everything, obviously, what do you think about it? What are your views on this episode, and where would you rate it?
The episode I feel is kind of mediocre. I mean, I didn't mind the effect of his face, kind of blowing up and revealing an owl. I
Right,
thought the coughing up of the feathers, I was like, okay, it's a little cheesy. I didn't mind the effect of him looking like an owl, but I thought overall it's pretty mediocre. It's like this, like right dead in the middle, like a 5.
right.
I preferred the story in the comic, even though it's still kind of corny and cheesy. It's like, oh, it was a vampire bat. Like we all know vampire bats don't work like that, but
They only work like that. Actually, everybody knows this, Jeff. Jeez.
yeah,
No. Oh, all right. And you said a 5,
yeah, middle of the road 5.
right? I'm gonna say like, well, first off, what does IMBD give? IMBD gives this one a 6.0. Um, I'm gonna say that's too hard. That's wait, yeah. I mean, I'm kind of with you. Like, I'm going like 4.5, 5. I mean,
Yeah.
it's not horrible. It has some of the key things that kind of make it like a Tales from the Crypt episode. A little bit of supernatural, a little bit of boobs. I mean, it's very typical type episode there.
Yeah.
I personally had like, I don't know how, like, some of the stuff was just kind of irritating to me with this episode in a way.
Mhm.
The betting, the guy, I don't gamble on anything. The first time somebody bets him, it's his wife, and he takes her up on it.
Yeah.
Like, there's just little things like that that kind of just irritate me. I didn't think the blood and gore in this episode were nearly as good as what we've seen in other ones. The
Yeah.
face ripping really didn't show. It was like the owl's face was right underneath the flesh. Like, there was no blood, no nothing. The
Yeah.
gunshot wound looked like somebody just squirted some fucking blood type.
Yeah. It
Like a
didn't
very
look
red
at
blood.
all.
No, it didn't look good.
It looked like if you go to the fair or an amusement park and you get a funnel cake and they put the strawberry syrup on there. That's what that looked like.
Basically, yeah. It wasn't very well done. It wasn't very well put together. Other than that, though, I mean, I will say, like, to me personally, the doctor, fucking what's his name, David Gant, quite the standout role for him in this one.
Yeah.
I think he was extremely believable as a kind of doctor like that, and I think he did the role very well. But the rest, I mean, it just wasn't that good.
He was the standout. I mean, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
Richard Johnson is like an actor who is known for being great. I've seen him in several things. He's good. In this, he's fine. But
he
the
doesn't
doctor,
stand
David
out.
Gant, he doesn't stand out. The doctor stands out. I would pay to watch a series of this doctor doing weird shit to people.
Oh, exactly. But then again, I'd also pay any doctor to watch him do weird shit. That sounded bad. I mean, weird transplants. Like,
Can't be any worse than last week when I alluded to with children and things.
Yeah,
so,
that's fair.
yeah,
That's
so.
fair. Yeah. But
I'm on more thin ice than you right now, bud.
Hey, it's okay. We're both there. But no, I mean, very, very kind of blah episode. I will say that I already know what to expect from next week's episode, though, with it being based off the Three Little Pigs.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't know that story, you can refresh yourself on it. I don't know where at. I mean, probably any fucking children's fucking nursery rhyme book.
Any library. Yeah, you can probably. It's probably.
Yeah, I bet the whole thing's probably free on any fucking thing if you search it up.
It's probably on like archive.org for free where you can just look it up.
Right.
Yeah.
But, spoiler alert, the reason that episode is going to be good is because my buddy Michael Ravenshadow is going to be joining us once again, writing out the series with the third pig. Fucking love Ravenshadow, dude. Fucking always kicks ass, and always a fucking honor to fucking talk with him. Great
It'll be
guy.
fun. That'll be the first time I get to talk to him.
Oh God, yeah. You're in for some fun. That's for damn sure. I mean, I wonder what kind of information he's gonna have on this episode that he knows of. But I mean, there's some cool things about that episode. But I mean, as far as the story and the creativity, there is nothing fucking there. Which is kind of, what to expect with something like this. But we do have Charlie Adler doing a voice, Bobcat coming back and doing a voice there, Brad Garrett, Corey Burton, and Jim Cummings as well. So I mean, the casting on this is pretty decent considering, but it's all voice acting.
Notable voice actors coming in, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, Bobcat. I mean, fuck. We could probably do a whole podcast just on Bobcat and what he's done with his life.
All right, Police Academy movies it is.
And that's all he's done. No.
There was one thing about this episode and the comic that just kind of coming back to what we just talked about real quick.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've ever seen, if you were a big fan of Batman the Animated Series.
I saw it. I mean, it just
Kinda,
depended,
sorta.
like Batman the Animated Series, because I know I did like a lot of like, was it Brave and the Bold?
Brave and the Bold is great.
You know,
Yeah.
I've seen many different Batman animated series. So, but
Yeah.
yeah.
The OG one that started in '92 is mainly
Okay.
what I'm referring to. There's an episode called On Leather Wings where it introduces Man Bat, and that's kind of the vibes I got from the
Mm,
comic. Like if they took inspiration from this in some way, it's not somebody getting a transplant of anything, but it's Kirk Langstrom working with bat DNA, and he somehow creates something that turns him into Man Bat. So it
all
kind of
right.
reminded me of that. I'm just a huge Batman fan, so of course I remembered all that. I'm like, oh, this is like On Leather Wings because I'm a nerd.
All right. Yeah. I
Yeah, so
mean,
there was the kind of tie-ins with like the medical stuff, the doctors, bat DNA in some way getting into a human. They're turning into a vampire.
I can see
Or
the
bat.
tie-ins with that. That's for
Yeah,
sure. I always forget about Man Bat. I mean, I don't know. Not a very um, what would you say? Great design. I mean, well
I
developed.
I think in the animated series, it's a good look. I think some of the comics have made it look a little weird to me. I'm
Yeah,
like,
I mean, most of my knowledge when it comes to Man Bat is from the comic books. So
yeah,
I
I
just,
prefer the animated series design, but then I'm also a guy who prefers that design for like Clayface and Joker coming out of that series, as opposed to some other iterations. But you know,
fair enough. Fair enough.
everyone's got their preference. But yeah, that was the last thing I wanted to say on this.
Oh, well, good enough. Well, you've heard our thoughts on this episode. What are yours? Go tell somebody who gives a fuck. So no, I'm joking. No.
Come on, come
Yeah,
on.
I was like, I wanted to I was like, go tell someone.
Tell me why it was good. I'll fight you.
Right, right, yeah. And
Oh,
if you ever disagree with any of these, feel free to come on the show. Message us over at our Gmail account, which is in the show notes, and over at the webpage over at talesfromthepodcast.com. We'll argue with you because we don't have
yeah.
much else better to do.
I've got nothing else going on, so all day I can argue with you.
I mean, we will put up a hell of an argument. And if we don't feel like we're winning the argument, we will take you off the chat and made it look like you left and still
Yep,
make us look like the winners. Because that's what
exactly.
winners do, right, Jeff?
Yep, that's exactly how winners act. And then here's where the more you know comes over the screen.
I need to go ahead and just like make like a fucking PNG video of the more you know, and it just like plays over top of us. I mean, at this point, we're gonna need it. But yeah, we got that coming up. What else do we got coming up here, Jeff? Because that's going to round that off. After that, Josh Nealis is going to be joining us as we
Tales from
talk
the Crypt
about
Keeper.
Yep, and also do a little bit of talking also on the very very short-lived Tales from the Crypt game show. So
Which I'm excited about because my exposure to the game show is non-existent, and I've seen only like a handful of episodes, maybe, of the cartoon. So
yeah,
I'm really
well, I
looking forward to
mean,
that.
the cartoon. I mean, you can. I believe the entire thing is free on Tubi. So I
I believe
mean,
you're right,
you know, it's not hard to watch that.
and I
But
know
if you
some
want to,
episodes have been put up over on our friend's channel.
yes, of course, over at CryptTube, which congratulations, John. I know you were a good friend of mine. But for those who have not noticed it, John has finally got to go and make one of his dreams come true, which I was able to do earlier this year as well, and spend a little bit of time with Mr. John Kassir himself
That's
in
awesome.
person. So yeah. So I'm sure he had a blast. I saw the pictures already, and we already chatted a little bit.
Now, was
So
that at Frightmare?
yeah, he went out to fight me.
Okay,
Yeah,
That's what I thought because I saw a post. I saw a post on YouTube that said Frightmare. I'm like, oh, and I checked it out. I looked a little more into it, and I was like, okay, that's awesome.
Yeah, he went out there. Yeah, I'm not mad. I gotta see him in fucking Horror Hound. I mean, Frightmare, I will say, did not look as packed as Horror Hound, which
So see,
I'm a little bit jealous of, huh?
yeah, I was like, see, get around a little easier at those less packed conventions.
Yeah, well, I mean, Horror Hound. I mean, I bought my tickets. I mean, probably 6 months in advance, and I mean, they were sold out entirely. So,
Yeah,
a lot of conventions don't get sold out, especially niche horror conventions.
yeah. The fact that Horror Hound is like, if I don't see them sell out, they're always like on Twitter, like we're very close to being sold
Right.
out. So if you want to get in, now's the chance.
No, don't get me wrong. Like I loved it and everything, but
Yeah,
I am surprised that Horror Hound's been able to keep such a group of such a huge following, considering
yeah,
basically that last Jeepers Creepers movie was such a piece of shit and a total fucking like hour fucking ad for Horror Hound.
yeah.
And
I haven't seen it. I have my qualms about that series in general.
right. I mean, it's kind of weird too, because like in a way, you're almost thinking like, did Horror Hound pay off the pedophile?
I heard he's like the only reason. Now this is what I heard friends of mine on another podcast say, that apparently the only way this movie was greenlit was all ties to Salva and everything had to be cut. There was no, he would get nothing from this. Like they
Yeah.
had to figure out a way to not have him involved in any way whatsoever. And I'm like, well, good on you for finally doing something right.
Right. I
But
know Chuck was really excited when it came out because it's one of his favorite series.
like I watched the first one not knowing anything about Salva as well as the second, and then as soon as I heard him, I'm like, that makes a lot of sense as to why these movies are the way they are.
Yeah, but then again, Powder was such a good movie too.
Oh God. Oh.
Oh, and with that being said, let's wrap this bitch up, man. Thanks everyone for watching. Thanks for tuning in. You got anything to add before we get out of here?
Just you know what? For my other show, Skewered Universe, if you guys want to share your experiences with the Nightmare on Elm Street franchise, shoot us an email at skewerduniversepodcast@gmail.com, and we'll include them in the show. We're trying to gather your guys' thoughts for the show, your experiences and stuff. We want to kind of include that in that final episode because that's going to be the send-off for the series. So yeah, do that on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. You can message us there as well. You can go to skeweredhead.com. There's also a contact page on there. You can send it through there and we'll get it as well. And we'll include it in that show when it comes up.
Awesome. I got something for you after this show.
Oh,
Yeah,
nice.
Yeah. You can credit me and throw it into your episode, but I think you'll actually really enjoy it. I'll share it with you.
Oh, yeah, I will.
Oh, dude, it's one of those things you probably never even heard of. So we'll see though. But thanks everyone for watching. Thanks for listening. Thanks for checking out the podcast. Remember, always feel free to touch yourself while watching. And with that being
We
said,
encourage it.
I mean, it's the only way to really watch this show. But with that being said, the crypt is closed. Bye.
Thanks for listening, kiddies. You're all a scream.